When we're children, we're automatically apolitical, unless we grew up in a hippie commune. Then perhaps we were radicalized at a young age. But most of us, through hormonal reasons in the brain, we don't see or don't care about politics because we're children, we're playing, we're growing, and we sort of see life as a sandpit. If you picture all the different toys, the trucks, that thing where you can flip it over and make the sandcastle, it's just like a tool thing. And you sort of realize you can use all of these tools to create your little empire. But then as we age and we take on brands, we take on outfit choices, we're now a goth, we're now the jock, whatever it is, whatever path we go down, whatever music we listen to, we automatically find ourselves aligning with different groups with different ideals on life. And through that, we label ourselves either one of five things: extreme right, right, central, left, or extreme left. And all through my life, before I became political, and I feel like I've become political partly through getting smarter and reading more books, so I have to be political, but also just through aging and owning things and living a life. You can't escape politics. You can't be a child forever. You do have to eventually become political. But how we deal with that is still very important. I still think up for question. I think future generations, 100 years from now, will have completely reversed some of the ideas we've had. I don't think democracy is, I think democracy is the start of something. I think in the future there'll be new ideas, what will make the world, I mean, I guess you could say democracy is always, it always needs to sort of exist. So there's always this sort of two-way thing, but I think it will be mechanically altered to be better in the future, hopefully. Fingers crossed. If you're watching this and I'm wrong, and we've been taken over by robots, aliens, I'm not going to apologize because I'm just a single person talking, but I am sorry. So as I was growing up, people put labels on me when I didn't want to be political. I didn't really think I was political. So I'm talking my teenage years now. Because I worked in the arts, people just assumed I was left, and the left was put on me. And then as I grew older and I wanted more stability because I came from a place of instability, and I spoke about things like taxes and all of the grown-up things, what burn our life, that is when people started to assume I was right. And it's very interesting that the left is assimilated with the social aspect of life, racism, etc., and the right is associated with structure and order. That's something what I find very interesting. Also, I find very interesting is when I was younger, when I was a teenager, nobody really seemed to care about politics, apart from those educated in politics or the people what maybe read the newspaper every single day. Most people would just sort of roll their eyes and just be like, as long as it doesn't affect me, it's not a problem. But now politics has been weaponized, and we have so many people what are using it as their currency to shape themselves and shape life. And the reason why I'm sort of making this video is because I think it's extremely important to stand up for things you believe in, because I myself, I'm in the middle. I'm a neutralist. I've always been, I listen to different sides, and if I like that agenda, I usually back that. Sometimes my opinion changes. I might be backing something what's predominantly left, but then people, the way I start talking about that, people then start thinking I'm right, so sometimes you can't really win. Sometimes I might be doing something what's right, and then I start talking away what's left, so the people on the right think I'm talking left. So it can get very confusing. So I've always been in the center, sort of pivoting between both worlds, but I absolutely think it is important. So I'm not saying you should stay in the center, because sometimes you have to back a side. It is very important that for us to navigate through the world, you stick to your guns, and when things are happening in the world what are problematic, it's important to stand up against them. But the problem is there are more than 5 ways. There are more than just the extreme right, central, left, extreme left. There are more than 15 ways, because intelligence and education is always changing. It's very fluid. One policy might have worked 100 years ago, might not work now. Everybody's different, so social aspects apply different to different people. There is the sort of thing that the overarching theme that underneath we are all the same, which is something I do believe when it comes to human desires. But I think moving forward, there needs to be way more education into what politics are, and also the thing what is, I'm going to end on this. The thing what I feel is sinking the human race, if you like, is we just jump 2 feet into a belief, and when we have counter evidence against that belief, we don't pivot and change. We just stay with that. And when you ask these people what believe things what are wrong, their excuses sometimes like, oh, I didn't think about that, because people just aren't thinking about that. They're thinking about that they're told something, some piece of information is given to them, and they haven't really gathered it and nurtured it, and they just throw it out there. It's like these videos. I don't know if you noticed, but I tend to be doing, I'm in the realm of making videos now when I want to make videos. When I feel, because it started to feel a bit like a job, and people are telling me that, you know, to be a content creator, you should be bringing new videos out every single week, a certain day, a certain time, to sort of trick the algorithm. But life isn't like that, and it's nice to make videos when I want to make videos. It's nice to, I think it's give to you guys. I don't think you need to be listening to me every single week. I think people need to crop up now and again in our lives. And I think it's best not to streamline a view straight to the moon, because there's just channels from my hands. There's no moon today.
Let's get the moon.
Yeah, you don't want to put all your eggs into one basket. I think I'm going to sort of conclude on that. So have a good week, a good weekend. Ciao.